the main fight that everyone's talking about coming up on Saturday is Errol Spence and Terence Bud Crawford. And now, as far as the fight is concerned and the hype behind it, because I've been wanting this fight for quite some time, and I know you had like Mayweather Pacquiao a while back, and or even more recently Wilder and Fury. But where do you think this fight ranks as far as hype in the last 20 years?
The hype is nothing compared to what those fights have been. Um, because boxing doesn't get hyped anymore, especially in America. If this was a UFC fight, it would be everywhere. Boxing doesn't get the promotional hype machine behind it like it used to have. But I'll tell you this, to boxing fans, to people that really know and love the sport, and to those people involved in the sport, um, on any level, writers, promoters, matchmakers, everybody, to fight people and real fans, this is bigger than those fights. This is reminiscent to me of when Oscar De La Hoya fought Felix Trinidad. The significance of this fight is that level. Ironically, they're welterweights, just like they were in that fight too. But this, to me, and I think to people that really understand the sport, is that level. It's De La Hoya Trinidad.
Yeah, I think, and I've heard, how people speculate on these talking head shows on TV as far as, well, when one person's legacy be ruined by a loss. And no, I don't believe that. I don't think anyone's legacy would be ruined by, even if they got knocked out. But the person who wins, I just think it's going to excel them into a different stratosphere. The person who wins.
Yeah, look, both of these guys have already punched their tickets to Canastota for what they've done already. And for those out there that don't understand what that means, I did not say open a can of soda. I said punch their tickets to Canastota, New York, where the Boxing Hall of Fame is. These guys are both Hall of Famers. They've both done enough already in their careers to be Hall of Famers. A loss to either one, even if it's a lopsided loss, doesn't tarnish the legacy. It tarnishes the future, maybe, but it doesn't tarnish the legacy. That being said, one of the reasons I say it's reminiscent of De La Hoya Trinidad is both Oscar and Felix were right around the primes of their career when they finally met. It was a pick 'em fight. It was even. If you had 10 talking heads, 5 would go one way, 5 would go the other. And then if you watched the fight, it could have gone either way. They were both, I'm not going to say they were both in their prime, because De La Hoya, as great as he was at welterweight and then junior middleweight and middleweight, De La Hoya was at his best as a junior welterweight. I think he was already on the downhill of his career when he moved up to fight Trinidad, but still near his prime. This is an example. Pacquiao Mayweather was 10 years too late,
I agree.
and it didn't matter at that point, which is why Pacquiao losing the fight, it didn't tarnish Pacquiao's legacy, because everybody who knew boxing knew that fight didn't fucking matter at that point. The 100 million people who bought it because it was a big name in an event and really didn't know anything about the sport figured, oh, Pacquiao's nothing now. Well, yeah, but shut up. Who cares what you think? That fight didn't affect his legacy. This fight, again, you got two guys near their primes. I'm not going to say in their primes. I think Bud Crawford is in his prime. I mean, I think Bud Crawford is as good now as he will ever be. Errol Spence Jr., you can make the argument that he never came back fully from the car accident. He's not the fighter he was. You can make the argument that 3 years ago, it's funny, I was talking to Kevin about this earlier. If this fight were signed 3 years ago, when it should have been signed, and I don't think these guys were avoiding each other. I really do think it was the pandemic that prevented this from happening when it should have. So I'm not going to blame them on this. If this fight happened 3 years ago, I would have picked Errol Spence 100 times out of 100. I would have said he's unbeatable. There's no way, as good as Crawford is, there's no way he beats Errol Spence at this point. 3 years ago, Errol Spence wins that fight 1,000%. But if you ask me now, I'm actually kind of leaning towards Crawford.
Okay. So
Now, it could change.
You got Crawford, huh?
Well, it could change because, well, I don't know when this is going to be aired, but we're recording this on a Tuesday. The fight isn't until Saturday, so that's several days for me to change my mind back.
Well, hold on. Let me update this, and there we go. Get it updated.
That's more like it. I'm leaning toward something in my gut tells me that, and I hate to say that, I'm not trying to make an excuse for Spence saying, oh, he got in the car accident and he's a couple of years past where his absolute best was. It's not an excuse. It's just Crawford is at, I think, his athletic peak right now. I think now is the perfect time for him.
I think so too, and I'm going all in. Not only do I think Crawford's going to win, I think he's going to take him out.
Wow,
I do.
Wow.
I mean, like Errol Spence hasn't fought in quite some time. This guy hasn't fought since April of last year, and there's no tune-up fight. And then you're just coming in the ring against Crawford. That's dangerous.
It's very dangerous, but wow, TKO 8. That's cojones. Spence is such a great all-around fighter.
Yeah, I would never put money on it.
No. He's such a good fighter, but you're right. And again, and I only lean that way now. It's nothing against Errol Spence, who I think is probably in the top 5 fighters in the world right now. Yeah. I just think Bud Crawford's the second best fighter in the world right now.
Okay. Behind Inoue?
Behind Inoue, yeah.
Okay.
Roughing the passer, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Roughing the passer, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.